Saturday will go, Sunday will go, and Monday will come, and you'll go back to the class. And like this teacher by name Mrs. Thompson entered the class for the first time. And she had this habit of starting her class by saying, "Love you all." But she knew she was lying because she could not feel that love for one of the students in the class who was very unkept, untidy. And there was nothing in the child that drew attention from Mrs. Thompson. She was little indifferent to the child. She picked him for every negative example and ignored him for all the positive reasons. That year, she had written the progress report for the first quarter. And it was a system in the school that the headmasters have to countersign every progress report. The headmasters called for Mrs. Thompson and told Mrs. Thompson, a progress report should report some progress. It should make a parent feel my child has a future. The way you've written the progress report for Teddy, that is how he was called. The way you've written the progress report for Teddy, parents will give up on Teddy. Mrs. Thompson immediately said, there's nothing I can do. I have nothing positive to write about the child. Immediately, the headmasters asked the administrative staff of the school to trace the old year progress reports of Teddy and send it across to Mrs. Thompson's class. Mrs. Thompson saw the third standard progress report, and it was written, the final remarks, Teddy is the brightest child in the class. She was stunned by what she read. She saw the fourth round progress report, and progressively all the remarks suggested that Teddy's mother was suffering from terminal cancer. She is not able to give the attention she used to give to Teddy, and it's just beginning to show up on the performance of Teddy. The fifth standard progress report read, Teddy had lost his mother and along with that himself. He desperately needs help, otherwise we will lose this child. By then there were tears in the eyes of Mrs. Thompson. She looked at the principal and said, I know what to do. And she went back to the class. Probably it was a Monday morning. She walked into the class and again from the dais of the class looked at the class and said, love you all. But she knew she was lying. The love she was feeling for Teddy right now was far, far greater than the rest of the class. She decided that she is going to change her approach. For every positive reason, Teddy's name was called. There was no more a negative reference to the whole thing. The last day of the school came. All the children had brought some gifts for the teacher. There was only one gift which was wrapped up in an old newspaper. Somehow, the sense of a teacher, she knew that it must be from Teddy. She opened that first. A half-used perfume bottle and a bracelet from which a few stones had already fallen was there. The whole class laughed, knowing it was from Teddy. But without saying anything, Mrs. Thompson just took that half-used perfume bottle, sprayed it on her, wore that bracelet. With a quarter smile, it seems Teddy told, now you're smelling like my mother. This is the last perfume that she used before she left me. And this is what was removed from her body before she was taken into the coffin. 1 year later, end of the school, end of the year, there was a letter on Mrs. Thompson's table. I have seen few more teachers, but you're still the best teacher I've ever seen. With love, Teddy. Every year till the end of the year, Mrs. Thompson used to get this letter from Teddy. I've seen few more teachers, but you're the best teacher I've ever seen, Teddy. Years rolled by, they lost contact. Somewhere an agent traced Mrs. Thompson, who had retired by now, and handed over a letter. And the letter was signed, Dr. Theodore, PhD. Teddy had gone on to become a PhD. And the letter read, I have seen many more people in life. Mrs. Thompson, this is your Teddy. You are still the best teacher I've ever seen. I'm getting married. And I cannot dream of getting married without your presence. Along with that enclosed were to and fro flight tickets. Mrs. Thompson couldn't resist. She no more had the perfume bottle, but she still preserved the bracelet. She wore that and went to the church. She was trying to sit in the last row, but volunteers identified and ushered her right to the front row. And right in the front row, there was a seat with a placard written, Mother. Theodore personally asked Mrs. Thompson to sit in the chair and whispered, you are the closest to my mother that I have ever experienced. And whatever I am today, it's because of you, ma'am. The wedding happened, and after the wedding, Theodore introduced Mrs. Thompson to his newly wedded wife. Without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. There were tears in Theodore's eyes. It seems Mrs. Thompson told the newly wedded woman, without Teddy, I would have never realized a teacher must first be a mother to every student of hers and only then a teacher. This is just my request to all of you. There is a Teddy sitting in your class. When you go back to your classroom on Monday morning, there is a Teddy in that class, and you can be that Mrs. Thompson. Please, on Monday, don't go back to the institutes as a teacher. Go back as a parent who can also be a teacher and be a turning point in the life of those children. You plus me. I believe we can build a new world.
A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops.
Teachers, I believe, are the most responsible and important members of society because their professional efforts affect the fate of the earth.
The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Pablo Picasso.
To teach is to learn twice over.
All are game changers. What you do every single day, the service that you put in every single day is changing more lives than you know. That's probably the most frustrating thing about being an educator is you sacrifice and you give so much to these kids, but many of them, when they leave your school or they leave and go to the next grade, you don't get to see them 5 years later. You don't get to see them when they graduate from high school or when they get accepted to college or when they get married or when they have their first child. I wish so bad that I could find those teachers, those few teachers who saw something special inside me when everyone else wrote me off. Man, if I could just find those few teachers and say, thank you, look at me now. I own a home, I've got a few businesses, a nonprofit, I've written a bunch of books, I got a bunch of degrees because of you. But they're not here, and I can't find them, but I can tell you, because of the sacrifice that you make every single day coming to this school, because of teachers and educators and administrators like you that speak life, because of people like you, our country has a fighting chance. This new generation has a fighting chance. And these kids are going to go to a whole nother level. But that can only take place when we live a life of service, when we live lives of making solutions, and we live lives of sacrifice. You know, one of the number one messages I share when I go to schools, and I'll be honest with you, nowadays when the school calls me and they like, man, we want you to come and speak to our kids. I don't mind speaking to the kids, but more than anything, I want to speak to the teachers, the staff. Because if I can put this thing inside you, you now can give it to the kids and continue to reinforce it. So when I sit down now with the teachers, I do what I do with them, and when I get with the kids, you know what the number one thing I tell them is? Is that your teachers are human, just like you. Think about it. You can get diagnosed with something. You get that phone call. You're dealing with financial strains. I know, because you overworked and you underpaid. You got marital issues within your home. You suffer from depression, but you come to school every single day and you say, I'm gonna leave this in my car because I've got to give my best to these kids. That's what next level teaching is. That's that next level education right there. And you can only do that if you every single day you say, you know what, I'm gonna sacrifice me for these kids.
What is the one action which will make you great? Every one of you has a page in the history of the world. What is that page? How do you make that page which is going to be referred by the prosperity? There is a need to give a vision to your ambition. What I will be remembered for, what I will be, each one of us has to ask the question, what I will be remembered for. If you find an answer for this question in a few lines, that of out-of-box idea will drive you for the rest of your life. You will definitely thinking something different on our out-of-box mission. What are they? I learned every youth wants to be unique. Every youth wants to be unique. But the world around you is doing its best day and night to make you just everybody else. Whether you want to be you or everybody else. Everybody else is convenient at the first glance, but not satisfying in the long vision. The challenge, therefore, my young friends, is that you have to fight the hardest battle which any human being can ever imagine to fight, and never stop fighting until you arrive at your destined place. That is the unique you. To get the unique you, it's a big battle. The battle means you don't need to take a gun. The battle means you have to have 4 unique things. 4 unique tools you must have in that battle. One is you have to set the goal. The second one is acquire the knowledge continuously. And third one is a hard work with the devotion. And fourth is perseverance. Where there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in the character. When there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is an order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world.
There are those who walk among us, who are champions of discovery, agents of change, and curators of passion. They challenge us to ask questions like what, why, and how. They encourage us to explore beyond our backyard, and they captivate our minds and nurture our curiosities. Because of them, we better understand our world. We know what causes an earthquake, why a light bulb lights, how clouds produce rain. They reassure us that it is okay to think without boundary and explore the possibilities of what could be. There are those who walk among us who inspire us to investigate, to create, to find solutions, to become part of and ultimately change our world. For all the things you do, for who you are, and for who you inspire us to become, we offer our most sincere thank you to you, our teachers.